On today's episode 34 of Scope and Create, we're tapping into something that a lot of creators, entrepreneurs, and high performers don't talk about enough. How stress, mental overload, and constant distraction can quietly kill your clarity, your confidence, and your creative flow. I'm joined by Kharron Alderman. That's Kharron, a clarity and performance strategist and certified breath coach who helps women reduce stress, improve focus, sleep better, and feel more fulfilled, while also helping businesses reduce burnout and improve performance through stress management and breath work. In this conversation, we get into how breath work can help you reset in real time, why so many people stay disconnected from themselves because they're overly connected to everything else, how stress affects creativity and decision making, and why self-care has to go deeper than bubble baths and surface level routine. We also talk about flow state, burnout, insomnia, doom scrolling, nervous system regulation, and the power of reconnecting with the version of yourself that's been buried under pressure, noise, and expectations. So if you've been feeling mentally scattered, creatively blocked, emotionally drained, or like life has been pulling you in too many directions, this episode is definitely for you. Let's get into it. And while you're listening, make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button and drop a comment with your biggest takeaways from the episode. Welcome to Scope and Create, where fitness fuels creativity and helping artists, entertainers, and creators on their journey towards physical, personal, and career growth. I'm your host, Trea, Fit Artist, and who I have with me today is Kharron Alderman. She's a clarity and performance strategist and certified breath coach. Welcome to the show, Kharron.
Hi, Trey. Thanks for having me.
Man, I'm glad you can make it. All right, so before we really get into it, let everybody know where they can find you, partake in your services and so on and so forth. Set your links out.
Sure. So you can find me at my website, of course. It's mindbodyrejuvenation.io. You can also find me on LinkedIn and on Facebook, and it's all my name.
Okay, cool. All right, so y'all check Kharron out. And so let's get into it. And so tell us about what it is that you do. So say that you're a clarity and performance strategist and a certified breath coach. What is that about?
Sure. So I help two different groups. Help women with reducing stress, boosting their focus, and helping them get better quality sleep, improve their productivity, and also find more fulfillment, because that's something that we all need, right? And for businesses, I help them boost their profitability by providing stress management services. So, more along the lines of corporate wellness.
Okay. All right. So do that work for not just on the corporate, but like somebody that's starting a business or have their own private business, maybe not in the corporate space, but they have their own business to do that help in that space as well?
Yes, the services are similar. What we're focusing on, and what we're trying to achieve is just different. So the methodology for getting to the goal is still the same, and it
Okay.
almost always starts with relaxation.
Okay. I got you. So can you give us some examples of how you do this and how it helps as well?
Sure. So for women, let's say you have a corporate job, or you're a mom or an entrepreneur, it can get overwhelming just doing
Mhm.
your daily work, right? You have meetings back to back, you have 50,000 different notifications popping up on your phone, errands to run. You need some time to actually just sit and clear the mental fog, because without it, you get overwhelmed, you get stressed. When you get stressed, you get impatient, you don't think as well, you don't become as innovative, right? So using breath work, I help people find that few minutes that they need to recenter themselves.
Gotcha. And definitely do the hustle bustle of life, not just only in the business world, but in your personal life. Yeah, you definitely a lot of things going on. So you do need that clarity, but you want to perform better too as well with the stuff that you got to do for his work. But all these outliers pulling you every way, and it's kind of hard to find that balance and so forth. So, like, what would you say? Like what type of breathing technique that would you do for them? Like to say that when they in that moment when they kind of getting stressed, when they kind of getting overwhelmed, what would you say in that moment? Like would they slow down and find that clarity and alleviate their stress so they can go and be productive or perform better?
Sure. So one of the go-to breathing techniques is 4-4 balance breathing. So what that
Mm,
is you breathe in for a count of four, and then you exhale 4 count of 4. It's very straightforward. It's very simple. It's something that you can do without like drawing attention to yourself because you're not doing
Okay.
things with your hands or, you
Okay.
know, sitting in a yoga pose. It's super practical. Anybody can use it.
All right. So kind of like Wusa in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. All right. Cool. And so now you mentioned, you work with women. So why, particularly in women that you work with and so forth?
Well, what we find is that women seem to have a heavier mental load, especially if you're
Okay.
balancing the work and the family. Women are kind of like the project managers of the house, right? They do all of the coordinating and, most of the planning the events and getting things together for the school, planning the meals, things like that. Those are
Mm,
all tasks. They're small tasks, right? But they're tasks nonetheless, and they add up, right?
right.
I just seen this video recently where a woman was talking about we don't have infinite mental resources, right? We can't just keep going on forever, just doing, doing, doing. At some point, you're going to run out. You're going to get tired, right? Right. So you need to be able to replenish yourself. And women I think need it the most because, like I said, we're doing all of those work and household things, right? You need to be calm so that you can take care of your kids. You can't do that from a place of stress, a place of frustration. I mean, you can, but it's not going to be good.
Oh yeah, yeah, most definitely. And like I say, when you are stressed, it can get, as you say, it reverberates into other things too as well. Your kids see it, your family see it. Then also it ends up with your not only your mental health, but your health overall and so forth. You ain't really like dealing with the stress and so forth. So can you speak to that, like other ways like that you do? Like, okay, let's talk about I want to talk about this, like, so for the performance part of it. So what do you mean by the performance? Like, how do you help them lead a more performative life, not only just in their day to day, but the work and career as well?
Okay. So let's talk about career, right? Like let's say you're an artist, right? Because we predominantly talk to artists here. If you're writing, if you're, sculpting or you're working on a painting, it's easier to create, to be more imaginative when you're coming from a place of calmness, right? When we're in a state of high stress, we lose function here in the front part of our brain. That's our prefrontal cortex. It pretty much shuts down, right? You can't make good decisions. You can't think creatively. Essentially, you're losing executive function. So when using breath work or, if you want to use meditation or, go for a walk, right? Things like that help to get you back to where you need to be, right? So that you can come up with those ideas. You can write more easily because now your ideas are flowing. You know what I mean?
So basically getting in that I won't say zone of excellence, but that flow state in a sense is what you're saying,
Flow
right?
state, yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Now, is it now? I had an interview with a guy named Anthony. We were talking about the flow state. Do you think some of those elements that have us to get out of whack or get out of flow would be outlier things like scrolling on social media, looking at streaming platforms and this and that, watching TV all the time and so forth. Do you think these things are attributed to disrupting flow and productivity and so forth, and not getting that clarity people like need?
Yeah, they can be. For one, when you're sitting and observing, you're taking
Mm,
in someone else's ideas. Something from someone else's mind is now being fed into yours, right? You're not creating, you're receiving. Especially when it comes to social media, it can be extremely negative. Like you find
mm,
things that are, about anxiety or the things someone said to you, right? People are pretty much airing out their dirty laundry without naming names, right? So you see a lot of negativity that goes into your spirit, that goes into your thought process. And that's not something we can do all day and then expect to still
mm,
be in flow state. It's
right.
definitely going to disrupt your flow.
Okay. So what would you say that they can do other than the breath work? What would you say they can do so they can be in that flow state, have that clarity, and perform better?
step away, right? Step away. Get some
Okay.
time without the device. Not now, of
Okay.
course, keep watching this, but you need some time to just disconnect, right? I
Right.
find that so many people are like disconnected from themselves because they stay so connected to everything else. You
Right.
can't listen to your own thoughts, come up with your own ideas if you're
Mm.
busy taking in someone else's all day. You have to
Right.
disconnect.
Right. And I have heard artists and entertainers say they don't. I have heard people like Lil Wayne say he don't really listen to a lot of music, which is crazy because you got a record label. You know what I'm saying? He said he just listen to his own stuff or whatever, so he don't be really knowing what's going out. So in case he may use some of their stuff in his material, subconsciously. I have heard other comedians and everything have said that too as well, where they don't look at other comics because certain ideas can get misconstrued, and then there they go saying you stole my joke and stuff like that. So they kind of don't look at stuff like that and everything. So I guess that can be applied to anything else as well, where you don't want to have certain ideas that things you're doing and so forth influence what you're doing in your day to day. Because a lot of the stuff that you do see on social media and so forth is sometimes is a fallacy where some people just putting a certain image that they want you to see that's not really their lives, and then they making an unrealistic expectation on you of what you think you should be doing, and then that can snowball into a world of trouble for you and everything if you're not living up to those expectations. Would you say?
Yeah, at least a lot of people being subconsciously programmed into thinking that they're not good enough or they're not doing well enough when that's like you said, that's not really the person's lifestyle. That's not how they live. This is something I have like a million siblings. If you want some, let me know. I'm sharing them out.
I got
One me and
five
one of my
myself.
siblings. You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot.
Uh,
Me and one of my siblings talk about this a lot because she was able to realize how when she was younger it was affecting her, right? She kept looking at, like I said, kind of doing the doom scroll, right? You seeing, make
right.
sure you're doing this, make sure you're doing that. Oh,
Yeah.
I did
Mm,
this, right? It makes you feel inadequate, right?
right.
And everybody's journey is different. We're not all supposed to be on the same timeline doing the same thing at the same time. That's not realistic, right? You do things in your own time when you're ready mentally, emotionally. So stepping away just even a little bit, even like a 10 minutes could make a huge difference in how you change, the flow of your day.
Right. No, I agree. Growing up, as I'm thinking that me and you grew up around the same time, we didn't have all the distractions. For as computers just started getting in there, but we didn't have social media. That YouTube wasn't a thing until 2005. We was already grown by that time, and so forth. We was able to like compartmentalize things of our day, where, okay, we got a time for when we got to do our work, we got a time to play, we got a time to rest, what have you. But I think now is it's kind of, crazy with the more busy we are and the more time, the more the thing looking for our attention. I think they kind of get misconstrued about like how we should be leading a more productive life and everything like that when everything is so had it ready for us and stuff like that. Even then, we had where I'm from, we walked a lot where we was at and stuff like that. Now stuff getting delivered to you, and stuff like that. So I think a lot of that, I would say plays on our clarity and our performances as well into like how we grew up versus how things are now. What would you say to that or think about that?
Yeah. So I'm from Brooklyn. So I'm
Okay.
used to walk. I love to walk.
Okay. Okay.
Now, it's it's funny. I was just having that conversation recently with an older family member. They're probably like in their 70s, right? It was two
Okay.
of them. And they were saying how the
Mm-hmm.
kids don't want to go outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the younger kids, they're
Yeah.
missing in action. And me and
Yeah.
my husband, we take our son to the park. Sometimes we have
Mm-hmm.
to go to more than one park just to find a group of kids because
Yeah.
they're not outside. And my
Yeah.
dad wouldn't have not let that fly, right? I just remember him coming in the house, looking out the door, looking at me. Why are you in here? Go
Right.
outside. It's night.
I'm telling you, it was a quest and everything. Like we wanted to be outside, compared to how they is now. and stuff like that. Like I said, they got the video games and all this, like I said, TikTok and all this stuff like that, where it got their attention, where they seeing this type of fun here or whatever, and they socializing this way. You can play a game, nobody you never met in a whole nother country and stuff like that. So you getting all this where you ain't got to go out and verbalize. So I think that play to me, I think that plays on people's performance as well and everything versus how it was back then. Is the reason why I brought it up and so forth. But so
Yeah,
let's
because
go back a little bit. Say again.
I said because they can't really socialize doing that, like, when
Right.
they get outside.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Our son has sickle cell, and we was at the doctor, and the doctor was telling me about his son and his friends and so forth. So just to give you a quick story about this, with his generation on, he was saying that like that his friends, they was at some kind of party, and they went in for the party. They wanted to dance with a particular girl. They text the girl instead of going up there to ask her, do she want to dance?
What?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
So I'm like, okay, but I'm guessing, don't that they don't want that rejection. You know what I'm saying? So I guess, you don't want that public rejection or whatever. But when you go out in real life though, you ain't got that person number. So how are you gonna communicate with that person? And stuff like that. So I
Right.
guess yeah, but I don't know. But yeah, like that was kind of funny when he told me that story and so forth. But as far as like I said, performance, I don't think we think of, and I want to go to this question because you said we're gonna save it for this conversation. I think with performance too as well, we don't think about our health in helping that performance. Yeah, you gotta get out of yourself, get clarity and so forth, rest and all that stuff like that, so you can perform better. But we don't think about the fitness side of things. Not necessarily have to be you want to look a certain way or you want to lose a couple of pounds, but also too so you can be able to perform better in your day to day, be there present for your husband, wife, kids, and your job and everything all simultaneously and everything to have the energy for. So I know of breath work when it comes into the gym before it's like you don't want to overexert yourself and everything. You got to rest, and also too, you don't want to raise your blood pressure up if you ain't breathing right and start doing certain exercises. But that is well, so that helps in that way in the performing in the gym. But you were saying you had something toward that as well that you wanted to speak on.
Yes. So the way that I teach breathwork is broken into three different categories, right? So it's called coffee, water, and whiskey.
Hmm.
So for coffee, those are the type of practices that stimulate your nervous system. So
Okay.
say if you are just waking up in the morning, you need something to help you get alert, right?
Hmm.
That is the time to do a coffee break. If
Okay.
you're about to go to the gym or need to get ready to do physical exercise, that is also a good time to do a coffee practice because it stimulates you, it makes you more alert, more focused, more ready to do a physical activity.
Okay.
And the water and whiskey, water practices are best for like midday if you just need something to help keep you even, keep you centered. And whiskey practices are for the evening. So when you need deep relaxation or if you're getting ready for bed, you would go for a whiskey practice.
Okay. So not necessarily drinking said fluids,
No.
but the practice of
Yeah. No, but it kind of
like you with
depends
the
what time of day you might use that type of practice.
okay, I got you. But you just got a particular nameplate for it or whatever, and thought process around it, whatever that particular drink is. So your coffee, you thinking about energy, morning wake ups and stuff like that. I got you. And water, you thinking about flowing throughout the day, and is how I'm thinking about it. And also whiskey, like you just said, this is the time to relax, wind down, and everything like that. So what are those activities and everything like that? So that's basically what you're saying.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. All right. I like that. And so, nice. So explain like what activity would be for each one, and then we can move on from there.
Sure. So the coffee practice, the main one that I teach would be breath of
Hmm.
fire. So
Okay.
it's rapid breaths, and it essentially is about 30 breaths per minute. So
Okay.
to give you an example, it'd be like,
Okay.
and you would do that 30 times.
Okay.
Okay. Now, that's not something you want to do too often because it has the potential
Okay.
to make you lightheaded. You want to use it
Okay.
with care and never while, driving or operating any machinery. That's something you would do when you're sitting where you're safe. For the water, like I mentioned, the go to practice is typically the 4-4 breathing.
Hmm.
And for the whiskey, one of my clients' favorite practice is the 4-8. It's very simple to do. It's you breathe in for 4 and you exhale for 8. Now, when you exhale for a longer time, that increases the relaxation because the longer exhale pushes your diaphragm like a little snuggle up against your heart. It slows down your breathing, slows down your heart rate, is signaling to your body, I'm safe, everything's fine, right? So a lot of my clients use that one to go to sleep.
Okay. Okay. I got you. I like that. All right. So, so let's kind of go back. So, what got you into being, a clarity and performance strategist and certified breath coach? Like, what led up to this?
My own personal story with just dealing with being burnt out, to be honest with
Okay.
you. I want to say it was practically a decade ago now, but all at once, I was a new mom. I was newly married. I had a full time job. I had a business, and my full time job was about 2 hours away from my house. So, what I tell people is if you've never driven that far for work,
Yeah.
don't do
Yeah.
it. Just
Yeah. That's a
don't.
long time.
Awful, right? So,
Yeah.
that's a lot to manage at once. On top of all of that, from earlier than that time period, I already had trouble sleeping. I know a lot of people
Okay.
struggle with sleep, and I was one of those people. It used to take me an hour or two sometimes to get to sleep, and then
Mm,
even when I fell asleep, I would still wake up. So I was stressed. I was working. I was exhausted. It was a lot to happen at once. Nothing changed until I started taking better care of myself. And one of the things that I used to do was I used to go for walks during the day at work, and that helped a lot because I did that disconnection that we were just
yeah.
talking about, right? Getting some time away
Right.
from the screen, leave the phone in the office. The evenings, I would meditate, and it didn't start off as meditation. It actually started off as just stretching because I noticed that when I was going to sleep, how you're like tossing and turning when you can't get to sleep. I felt like my body couldn't just be still. So I started stretching to see if that helped. And then eventually the stretching turned into I'm breathing deeply. And then that eventually turned into, okay, I did that. Now I'm sitting on the floor and I'm just being quiet.
Mm,
So it wasn't my initial plan to start meditating or to regulate my nervous system.
mm,
But eventually, after I started studying, I realized, oh, that's what I was doing. I was
okay.
regulating my nervous system. I was coming out of fight or flight mode and giving my body a chance to relax.
All right. Okay. All right. And so once you start like realizing that and kind of got that aha moment, what led up to you like actually doing this as a business? Is it like you just stumble like on the people like, oh, you should do this? Everybody have an origin story about how they started business. So I like to talk about us entrepreneurs, how we got started. So is it somebody like, oh, you should do this, or you fell into it, it just happened to be a mistake, or however?
No one was asking me, but
Okay.
I always liked writing, right? And
Okay.
I was already writing, and eventually I started making meditation videos because I wanted to help other people get that same level of relaxation. And then we moved out of state, and I wanted to meet more people. But it was, like, very close to, like, that very end period when we were just coming off of COVID, so we
Hmm.
couldn't really go anywhere. We just had to do, like, virtual meetings, and I honestly just wanted to talk. Like, I wanted to exchange ideas with other people because we learn faster when we learn from each other, right? If I make a mistake and then I share it with you, you can go, "Oh, okay, so do it this way," right? That's what I was looking for, but what I found was people were coming to the call and they were going like this. They were
Okay.
waiting for me to tell them stuff. So
Okay.
eventually I switched it from just a group conversation to, okay, I'm going to do a presentation.
Okay.
And it kind of snowballed from there, went from the presentation to writing to
Okay.
workshops.
Okay. Okay, cool. And yeah, sometimes, like I said, it just stumbles, like that or whatever. You just never know how it ends up. and everything like that. Okay, cool. So now you were talking about for is you got a book out. Can we could talk about that? So like, what is your book about?
Sure. My book is called Mental Alchemy, and it's
Mm-hmm.
about transforming your mind so that you can transform how you're experiencing your daily life. As I mentioned earlier, I was having that 2 hour car ride because at the time we lived in central New Jersey and I was driving to Philly for work.
Yeah.
And because I was stressed,
Mm-hmm.
one day I kind of just threw a tantrum in the car, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much. I didn't want to listen to the radio. I didn't want to listen to another book. I just didn't want to hear anything. And in that silence was when I finally started listening to my own thoughts. And I previously wasn't because, like we said at the very beginning, I was spending so much time watching TV or listening to music or, talking about what movie is coming out. I wasn't paying attention to what was going on in here. And I was in like a negative thought loop and it sucked. But I would have never realized that if I didn't make the time to have some silence. So once I started listening, I started realizing I needed to change the way I was thinking. And by changing the way I was thinking and what I was thinking about, that finally gave me the different experience that I needed. And we can't think something if we don't do something different, if we don't feel something different. It all loops back into each other, right? When we create new experiences for ourselves, it creates new feelings, new thoughts. When we create new thoughts, it creates new actions, new feelings, right? So I wrote that book so that I could help other people do that, right? I dedicated a whole chapter just to perception changes and going through, like everyday scenarios where something that people might experience on a daily basis is causing them stress, but it doesn't have to.
Okay, I like that. And and based on piggybacking off what you said, releasing a book can take you through those emotions too as well. So there was something different that you never probably haven't did before. So now your thinking was like, what was your thinking before then, and then what was your thinking after the book has been released and so forth.
I really just wanted to help other people because just from taking in new information and starting to reshape how I was thinking, I knew that I wouldn't have been able to do that on my own.
Okay.
Honestly, there were so many, thoughts and concepts that I had never even heard of, and I was a grown ass woman, right? Like, I never heard anybody tell me to, you know, think about what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
That wasn't a thing. So I was really grateful for the books that I had, the interviews, the workshops that I listened to that helped me switch up how I was behaving, how I was thinking. And I kind of just wanted to turn around and give that hand to someone else, right? Because
Okay.
we all need that hand. We all need someone to help us grow.
Mm,
I
yeah.
mean, we can do it on our own. It just takes longer.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, well, yeah. So what I'm saying is like you when you were saying about once you like in a book writing, this your first book, or have you ever did anything else like in a literary sense before?
Yeah, I wrote one book that was more so on finance. It was about
Oh, okay,
blockchain
okay,
because
okay,
my background is in fintech. But
okay,
that was my first book. Like this was a
okay,
book.
okay,
The other thing
okay,
was like a small ebook.
okay, okay. All right. So the fintech one is it was your ebook or this one you talking about the mental alchemy? That was the ebook. Which one is the ebook you saying?
The ebook was the first book. It was
Okay,
the hell is blockchain? Well, sorry, what the
okay,
hell is crypto? Because I
okay,
was, studying a lot of finance at the time. Because, like I said,
okay,
I was working at a financial technology company, and Mental Alchemy, that is a physical book.
okay.
I usually have it right next to me, but I actually don't right at the
It's
moment.
all good. Okay, cool, cool. Yeah. So like what I was saying, you like once you writing your book, you in a different thought process than what you were doing before, and everything like that. So it gives
Absolutely.
you new experiences, new thought, and a new outlook on things once you write in the book. So that's what I was talking about when you were saying
Yes.
that earlier. So can you talk to that experience, like, because I think entrepreneurs need to hear that for, especially people who write in a book too as well. Like, what was that like going into the start of a book into the end of the book, and then once it's out there, what was the feedback and everything from it as well?
Sure. So I would say that one of the amazing things that comes from writing is that it forces you to be still.
Okay.
right? You have to sit
Mm-hmm.
and think. Now, I know a
Yeah.
lot of people can use AI now, but I didn't use AI. I wrote my book, right? And it
Right.
was based on personal experience and insight and research. Now, when you're writing, there's something calming that comes from that. And especially when you're writing about your own personal experience, it's cleansing in a way. It's sort of like a release, right? It's the
Okay.
same as someone when they're like making music or writing a song or a poem. It is that, right? So
Okay.
when it was finished, I felt amazing, honestly. I felt like it was a huge sense of accomplishment because it was something that I took from the mental plane and brought it into the physical world. And that was what I kept envisioning, right? Me standing next to a physical copy of my book. Yeah, it felt amazing. And I got a lot of positive feedback on it. And a lot of people have told me it was helpful because, again, we're not typically taught to think about what we're thinking about. So it was very insightful for a lot.
And another thing that you said too as well is like when you're driving, where you said you had the music on, you were just listening to the road, open road, and that allowed you to think. I understand that too as well. You hear a lot of people say they get their ideas when they in the car, driving in the car and stuff like that. A lot of stuff with me, yeah, driving, and also too working out as well. Like when because you listen to music, but sometimes you can be able to tune that music out and still be thinking in a certain sense or whatever. So those type of ways I feel like can help people, to get more grounded so that they can have that clarity and everything and to just think things through and everything more. And not only just for their clarity on performance wise and stuff like that, but just for their mental health too as well. So would you say the thing that you professing in book not just for performance and clarity, but would you think it helps with the mental health as well, aspect of everything as well?
Absolutely. So most of the book I'm talking about how your mind works, right? How
Hmm.
your mind works, how do you store information and how you can change it. And then changing those perceptions. And then the majority of the end of the book is pretty much healing practices. But one chapter in the book, I actually do speak in depth about my personal experience. And when I say I was exhausted, stressed, and overwhelmed, I was going through depression. And because I didn't have the language that goes with mental health at that time, I didn't know that. So I actually, in the book, I call it silent depression. And I think a lot of people go through this because there's a lot of people who kind of just going through the motions with life, right? They're not expressing themselves. They're not in tune with who they are. They're not doing or having the things that they want. And they don't realize that that's what's causing some disconnection. And that disconnection is what's kind of reinforcing that feeling. So I think that that was one of the most important parts of the book, honestly, because again, a lot of people go through that and they don't even realize it. And knowing that, because that time period that was, fresh off of me having a child. I just had another son recently, and he's almost 2. But with that in mind, I remembered that I needed to stay on it, right? Because this is not,
Got your hands
your
full.
personal development is not like a goal that you reach. It's a continuous journey, right? You always have to be on this. So when I was 6 months pregnant with my youngest son, I was like, I'm going to do a race, and I don't run. At least I didn't at the time, but I just knew I wanted to move, right? So I was like, okay, a few months after I have him, I'm just gonna go start running and I'm gonna
Mm.
be outside, I'm gonna get some sunlight. And like you said, you can have the music on, but you can tune it out, think, get ideas. It's amazing for your body, it's amazing for your mental health. Super needed.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, if your mental ain't right, that goes into everything else. You ain't gonna move forward. You ain't gonna act on anything, or you might act on something, but it can be a negative reaction, and so forth. So, you definitely, have to work on that mental health above all, and everything to have that full clarity and performance going forward and so forth. So how would you say, like, what you do for it? How would it help artists and entertainers in a particular field? Like, what way would you say that it can help them in a particular setting or scenario?
Well, for one, I would say it helps with confidence. It's
Okay.
I think the confidence is a byproduct of the relaxation. And the,
Okay.
the reason being is that it helps you feel more grounded in who you are.
Mhm.
what I mean? I told you before that I listened to another one of your podcasts with a
Mm-hmm.
musician who was on, and she was saying how,
Victoria.
yeah, she didn't feel comfortable with releasing her work. She thought it wasn't good enough because she was listening to other people's opinions, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you take the time to make that quiet space for yourself, you know who you are, right? You don't need anybody else's opinion. You don't need anybody else's validation. So I think breath work helps you center yourself, helps you listen to yourself, act on who you are, not what everybody else wants you to be.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. And like I said, I was telling you, I definitely can relate to her, like based on my thoughts and everything, or why I didn't go out and start making music and stuff like that as well. But also, like, what would you say, like, they maybe having a nervous breakdown, they just starting out, they got a show, or they finna get on stage, finna act or something like that, they having a nervous breakdown, or they just nervous in general. Do the breath work helps in that manner? Or
Absolutely.
what other ways can it help?
Sure. So I can give you a couple of different scenarios. So, say, like you said, someone is about to go on stage or they're anxious to go meet with some clients, right? They're about to try to sell some artwork. You don't always have a long period of time to just go do a spa day and a bath and
Right.
drink some wine.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need something that works instantaneously. And
Mhm.
that's what breath work does because you're not relying on your thoughts specifically to do it. You're changing yourself physically, right? We are physically altering how your nervous system feels. So
Mhm.
you could do the 4-4 breathing. Another one, depending on how highly stressed you are, right? You can do alternate nostril breathing. That is
Okay.
a great practice for helping you balance your nervous system because you're breathing out of one side of your nose at a time, right? Now, when we do that, we're also stimulating our vagus nerve, which helps to increase relaxation. So that's something that's perfect for a performance or a show. Even if you're working on something that has a time limit, say you're creating something that has to be to a client by a certain time. Because I know sometimes people get commissioned to do things. You can get stressed or overwhelmed
Yeah.
working on that.
Yeah.
Breath work can help you with that because it can help you calm yourself, it can help you get more creative. Another example, I believe you said if someone is like going through a breakdown,
Mhm.
I would say this still works. Just using my own personal story as an example, I was depressed and doing that changed that because I was, again, physically changing myself. I was changing my physiology, right? So it's something that you do regularly. When I have my clients, we do a small session together, but they have to practice each day. And it's only a few minutes. And I think that's the best part of it for most people, honestly, that it only takes a few minutes. Like you don't have to do something grandiose. Within a few minutes, you can change how you're feeling.
Quite cool. And then and you ain't gotta be in a particular setting or, take a like a lot of times, so you's on the go, you can definitely do it wherever you at, basically.
Right.
Okay.
Like for example, I have someone that I'm talking to now. She used to get nervous
Mm.
talking to her manager. She said she would, like, speed up and, start talking really quickly, and she realized she
Yeah.
wasn't breathing right, like, she
Yeah.
was kinda holding her breath.
Okay.
What she would do is during lunch, she would go to her car, do her practice, and it helped her calm down. And by doing that, when she can go into the meeting and then now not speed talk, just say what you have to say, well, that's where the extra confidence comes in. Like I said, it's a byproduct of how you feel.
Okay. So in that moment, would you say she was nervous, the reason why she was speaking fast, or that
Yes.
what it was? Okay.
Yes, she felt, I guess, like she wasn't up to par, or maybe she
Okay.
wasn't on the same level. And a lot of people have that separation between them and whoever it is they're working with, right? They think they're
Mm.
here and the other person's here, when really
Yeah.
they're an adult, you're an adult, we here, vice president, manager, whoever, right? We're
Right.
both adults.
Okay. And last speech progress.
She's definitely slowed down. She's
Okay.
told me that a couple of times. She recognizes when she's starting to do it, and then she'll intentionally slow herself down.
Okay. Okay. All right, cool. I'm gonna ask you that too as well. What kind of like success stories have you heard since not just like necessarily with your book, but through your workshops and so forth? Like, what other stories have you heard, or what would you say your biggest success story was about? And can you tell us that story?
Sure. Another one would be another woman who was having trouble sleeping. She
Okay.
said that she could get to sleep fine, but she'd wake up every few hours.
Okay.
So she would wake up pretty much feeling exhausted because she's not really sleeping.
Hmm.
Fall asleep, you wake up, fall asleep, you wake up. So
Yeah.
by doing those whiskey practices before bed, she was able to slow that down, right? Instead of waking up 3, 4 times a night, now she's waking up maybe once or twice, right? The more she practices it, the better it'll get. It's like we're working with a baseline, right? This is what your normal is.
Hmm.
You're here overstimulated. You want to bring your normal back down here so that you feel calm, balanced.
And I'm glad you brought up your sleeping case and so forth. I was like, for us, did that help with people who got insomnia as well? Like, if they in a constant state where I don't know the whole the mindset or whatever why they can't sleep or whatever. About do your practices help people with insomnia? Is what I'm asking.
Yes, it can.
Okay, so
Yes.
like how would it? Could you speak on how that would help?
The same way. So
Okay.
what you're doing is you're changing your physical state. Mm,
Mhm.
a lot of times people can't sleep because they're up thinking, right?
Oh yeah,
They call it
that'd
in
be
that
me.
thought loop, whether it's you're thinking about something bad or you're just thinking about shit you got to do. You're
Yeah,
still thinking, right? You need to be able
yeah.
to turn that off, right? You need a little boop, a button. And the breath work does that. Um, the way it does that is, like I said, you're changing yourself physically,
Mm,
but also by counting, by focusing on the breath. And especially if you do one of the practices where you're using your hands,
mm,
you're focused here
yeah.
in the moment,
Okay.
not tomorrow, not what happened earlier today. You are here. And that's what makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I'm glad that you said that too, because us being entrepreneurs, we constantly it is really no off button. You know what I'm saying? People like you have an off day. Nah, I got down periods. You know what I'm saying? Downtime, but it ain't no off day. So we constantly thinking of, what we're gonna do the next day. Day we can be at a particular event and still thinking about work, and stuff like that. So, but as it comes to night, I do tell my clients and stuff like that a couple ways to go to sleep. Different with what you're saying. That definitely I definitely like that too as well. But just really like being in yourself, breathing and being in the moment, but also tell them too, you can work out. Just, don't have to be anything strenuous, a good 10-minute intense workout, and make that bed more inviting. That's what I, kind of jokingly tell them, and so forth. So that, and also too on the thing where, like I said, that happens with me a lot where it'd be hard to sleep sometimes because I'm constantly thinking about what I need to be doing and so on and so forth. Not only just during the night, but throughout the day, I'll be mentally drained because I'm thinking about a million things at one time. But going to the next day, I tell people that another thing you can do is like think about yeah, there's a lot of things that you could be doing or should be doing and everything like that, but you can't do all of it at once. So think about what's that big thing, one to three things that you can do for the next day and have that planned out. If if you get those done, cool, you got time to do anything else, then cool, go ahead and do it. But, just do one to three things that, have that on your schedule for the next day. So you won't be kind of rambling on what you need to do. And that I found helps too as well, kind of get stuff off your brain. Or like, okay, I know I got this to do today. Just go ahead and set time for that. And then I think too, when you get into the day, you can focus solely on that and then see what you got to do after that or whatever. So I think that kind of will help alleviate the stress and the clutter that's in your brain too as well and everything and lead a more productive day if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. Because for one, you're not trying to squeeze everything into like a short time period, right? You're focused, right? Do what's the most impactful, and then everything else can come later.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, there's a couple of things you could do, but like I think a good one too is turning off the maybe not
TV.
turn it off, but turn your notifications off maybe an hour before you go to sleep.
Okay.
Even if the phone is still on,
Yeah.
just turn the notifications off. Do not
Yeah.
disturb is your friend.
Yeah, yeah, so iPhone, I don't know if you have an iPhone or not, but yeah, you got that focus and stuff on there now and stuff like that. So I'm using it now, during these talks. Yeah, okay, cool. So now you mentioned you are getting ready for another book, right?
Yes, I am.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, can you hear
All
me?
right, cool. So yeah, I can hear you. So what is the name of that book and what it is about?
That book is going to be called The Radiant Life Blueprint. And that book is
Okay.
specifically going to be focused on women. The first book, anybody could use
Okay.
that. But this book is going to be focused on women, women's wellness, and why that's important, their impact on society.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So it'll be a lot of techniques to help them reconnect with themselves, and a lot of ideas on how to freely be yourself. Think from the time we become toddlers to we get to adulthood, somewhere along the way we lose little bits and pieces of ourselves, and we need to reclaim that back, right? I think we all came here for a purpose. A lot of people aren't sharing it because they're scared or they're hiding, like I said, bits and pieces of themselves. So I want to help people get rid of that.
Okay. So when you say reclaim myself, you talking about reclaim like who we were, not necessarily in the mindset of as a child, but are you saying like the essence of who we are growing up as an adult? You reclaiming that childhood essence in a sense is what you're saying, or what are you saying?
Yeah, so you know how kids are not afraid to do anything, right? They will
Hmm.
say whatever, they'll do whatever. You'll see a kid dancing through Macy's, making weird sounds. They don't care. They freely express themselves. We don't do that as adults. And I think it's emotionally draining to us
Right.
because we're here to express ourselves. We're
Yeah.
an expression of the creator, right? So why aren't we creating? Why aren't we expressing ourselves?
Right.
We need more of that, right? And the more
Yeah.
we do it, the more somebody else sees you being comfortable with themselves. And then now they're more comfortable to do it. I think it has a huge ripple effect when people are just free to be themselves, confident to be themselves.
Right. Okay. Cool. I'm like that, and it's crazy that you say that. That's why the reason why I asked, because the episode I just released this week, a part of that I was talking about me when I was doing stuff, me going for my dreams so far. I was saying I had the mindset of going back to my childhood. I feel like we don't really, that was our true self was who we were as a child, and getting back into that when we adult, we kind of think about how society looks at how we're supposed to function as an adult. How we supposed to think as an adult, what kind of job we supposed to have as an adult. But our true self was who we were as a child. We just grew up, you know what I'm saying? Now, you got a different way of thinking because you're an adult now, but your interests and your passions and stuff like that, it was what we were when we were there. They still there. They didn't go away. And I think that eats at us on so many different levels that we not expressing who we truly are.
Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people aren't. And it's crazy. I think one reason, especially when it comes to work, I think one reason a lot of people don't do the things that they're passionate about is because they
Mm,
feel like, well, I'm not going to make money off of that, so I don't have time for it. You need to make time for it because whether you're going to do it as a job or not, it's still
mm,
something that makes you happy,
right.
right?
Hmm.
You getting that enjoyment, that fulfillment, it changes how you show up everywhere. It changes how you interact with your family, how you interact when you do go to work.
Yeah.
You need to do that because that is what you're here for. You don't need to
Yeah.
get paid for everything. I mean, it's nice, but you still need to do the thing that makes you happy.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So, and to segue into that you were saying about, you talking about your personal story and everything, and how living in your life alignment with your passion and interests. What are those passion and interests that you have?
For me, it's writing and teaching. I love to write. I really do.
Okay.
And you just mentioned, right, like who we were as kids. That's who we are. I used to write all the time. And it's something that I guess as I became an adult, right, and I started
Hmm.
working,
Yeah.
I just stopped doing it. I probably want to say when I went to college is probably when I stopped doing it, right? Because
Okay.
all of my focus was do schoolwork and then get a job. But I used to write. I used to write songs. I used to write poetry. I used to
Okay.
draw.
So you didn't tell me that earlier. Okay, go ahead.
But that's who I am, right? That's
Mm,
what I enjoy doing. I love
yeah.
doing that.
Right.
So
Okay.
I needed to get back to it.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. And that's what I was saying too. I was telling you during the pre-interview, like it was something I couldn't shake. It was something I gotta do it, and everything like that. Even though I was just doing something little here, I write a jingle here, if something inspired me, I write a little. I didn't do anything with it. I just wrote something to it, or if something come in my mind, I just write. But it never fully left me. And I kind of have that similar background to it with you as well. My whole creativity was writing. So teachers seen me, seen my potential and everything in elementary school and stuff like that. So I was writing poems and stuff like that, and then that kind of expounded from there. I was drawing and stuff like that. Start hearing music or rap, hip hop that is. I was always hearing music, but hip hop that is. And okay, I can put this to a beat the poem to a beat and so forth. Even when I was now this one my first taste of entrepreneurship. But I was writing. I didn't think about it at the time, but I was for my friends and stuff. I was writing they love letters to their girlfriends and so forth. So and I was charging for it. So I
Wow.
had right. So I had good penmanship. So I had good handwriting, and I was very skillful in how imaginative, like how I wrote and stuff and so forth. So I was writing strictly from my mind and what I was what I wanted to say, and they was making it like they was their own words and everything. So somebody I forgot who I was talking to said, "Well, that was your first time ghostwriting." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, yeah, it was."
Really?
And everything like that. Or they'll just have their own. They'll been on wrote something themselves, and then they just want me to write it in my own handwriting. So that was that was another form of to say. So I always was writing. I like doing the literary works too as well, but I don't do it like for is something to publish or something like that. But maybe like a newsletter for clients and stuff like that or whatever. I can do that. But yeah, but that then like I said again, up until 2019 when I started saying, look, I want to make music. Let me go on, do it and see what it comes. And I ain't got to be famous and then that'll be nice. But I want to do something I'm passionate about and love doing. And everything. Fitness is one thing, but creativity, I think at its core is what I always wanted to do.
That is unique. I've never heard anybody say that before.
What's that? Writing love letters for people. Yeah. Like I said, that was my first taste of entrepreneurship was my auntie. She was selling food and everything. She was the icy cup lady, the lady that making plates outside her house. And my uncle, her brother, had he's a preacher and so forth. So at the end of church and stuff like that, she's selling food outside of her trunk, snacks and juices and all that stuff like that. Her trunk selling, and she give him some of the proceeds and stuff like that for the church and stuff. So I kind of got the idea of that. That was this the first time I got the entrepreneurship bug in me, and I seen that, got the idea, and I seen like 3 cent bubble guns. So immediately a light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, okay. So I got all the bubble gum and went to school and selling it for a quart, and everything like that. So and up until where mom had to give me no lunch money and stuff like that or whatever. I said, Mom, I got it, and everything until somebody said, "Oh, you getting that from the grocery from the gas station and stuff like that." And I thought the jig was up. Then I just stopped selling after that, but I didn't know no better. But yeah, that was my first taste of the entrepreneurship. So it just certain things kept going into my mind. I hear a lot of entrepreneurs. Their origin stories sound similar to that. They always found something they did at a young age for money and stuff like that. And it's kind of crazy that you have those similarities with certain entrepreneurs and stuff like that as well. But yeah, but like I said, at the core of it, like I said, I always wanted to write and stuff like that. So it always was in. But yeah, but it was funny how that came about. Cause they kept coming to me, cause they liked my handwriting. I said, look, then I just like, look, I'm gonna charge you for it. And then okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? That's how it started or whatever. But yeah, But so are you doing something with the music or
Music? No, no, I don't write
okay,
music anymore.
okay,
I strictly write from my spirit for
okay,
books, basically.
okay, okay.
Yeah, I haven't written a song in I don't know how long. Like, it's been a long time since I wrote a song.
You don't have to do anything with it. You know, you can just do it for your own personal listening, you know, and everything like that. You don't want to put it out there where it can get expensive. Well, you know, if you get your own stuff and it won't be that expensive then. But you say you draw too, is where you were drawing or are you drawing now?
I do draw a little bit.
Okay,
The cover of my book, I drew that, and I draw a lot with my son. So
okay,
we've we've made a
okay.
whole
I got
lot
it.
of
Is
stuff
it
in
on?
here.
Is it online? Your book?
Yes, it's was on my website. I'm actually re-putting it up on Amazon because
Okay,
Amazon was being funky. So yeah.
okay. I finna about to look it up and see. The drawing, something I did too. I remember you were talking about earlier. I like what kind of like made it sour to me when I was going to school and I was majoring in graphic design. And I was like, okay, I'm good with. Didn't really want to do graphic design now thinking about it, but you know, I like I'm good at computers. I can draw, so put them together. And I did all right in you know art class and so forth. What in design class, I was like one of the teacher favorites in design class where he took some of my work and to show other students of like what he looking for. It just where you had a deadline to do certain things that kind of made it sour for me. So I was thinking about that when you said that, where you know I can kind of like be in that moment, breathe and stuff like that, and that probably would have helped me out a whole lot better, you know, and everything because I gotta constantly do a deadline and you rushing me, and then usually when you're drawing, whole fun of it is you get to be lost and you ain't got to worry about no time frames and stuff like that, and you can do and take your time in drawing and so forth. So that what made it like not fun for me or whatever. But I got to get back into drawing too as well. So that's something I want to do, just not as a business wise, but just you know for relaxation and fun, pretty much.
Because you like you said, it kind of was there the whole time. It's like if you think about it, it's like an inner you is on the inside
Mm,
going,
yeah, that's what I'm
"Hey,
saying.
I need to. Can we do this
Right.
thing?" A lot of times when we're feeling unfulfilled, right, or
Mm,
we have something that we want to be or a certain way we want to behave, it's
right.
because we're already that, and our spirit
Mm,
is going, "I need to
yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Let me out." Right? It's
Yeah.
it's always there, and it's not
Yeah.
gonna go away.
That's what I'm saying. I told you like I said, it was that way for me. You know, it was always something I was going back to. I like okay, and that's the reason why I'm going forward with it now. Reaching out to and with the fitness line, that's another passion of mine. But help artists, and entertainers, those are you know creators in their own right, and entrepreneurs as well. Because they are creatives. They always got to think creatively to make money and to bring in people and stuff like that or whatever and build. But so that what I was saying that helps and why I went into this niche and everything as well too. But yeah, so definitely like it's just like something over your shoulder like this. You just like I want to say it's like you know like a addict, you know, and everything like that. But it is something pulling you, letting you know this was you, and that was the best way I can describe it would to say, you know, I'm going back into that childhood trait, you know, basically, and unleashing him, you know, and so forth. But yeah, okay, cool. But I didn't know that you didn't tell me that early on when you drew and stuff like that or whatever. But that's cool. So, is there anything else that we talked about a great deal so forth? But is there anything else that we didn't covered or anything else that you would like to talk about that we haven't discussed today?
That we haven't discussed?
Mm,
No, just about, your niche in particular.
mm,
I think
mm,
that's a great idea that you do that specifically for artists, 'cause a lot of time, artists you can get a little bit tormented, especially if
mm,
your work isn't being put out there, or if you're
mm.
putting it out there and you're not getting the reception that you want, you know?
Yeah.
Working out, it's a great way to relieve that stress, relieve that tension, and hopefully keep people from going into those dark thoughts, those doom loops of thinking. I love that you do that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, yeah, facets of why I thought about doing that. When you constantly think about them being on the road, they schedule is very hectic, and with lot of elements that we talked about earlier, pulling them different ways, and they can't really just sit and think and be. And that's the most important for a creator to create is their mental health. So if they ain't got, oh, and their body too as well. So that's the fitness side of it, and everything, and their body, so they can perform in a certain way. So how do they do that? So diet is crazy because they got these after parties and on the road. So fast food is present everywhere, and then they road touring and stuff like that. So they can't get to a gym per se and stuff like that. So how do they help on their fitness to be able to perform better? So I started thinking about all that and everything, and I said, yeah, this is the lane I want to go in. And then I said, me as a creative as well. I think like I said, I can, with music and all that stuff like that. I can, if I'm doing it, they can do it too. And this is a way I can help you do that. No matter like what space you are in, what kind of schedule you got, you can get it in.
Okay.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. But yeah. So but yeah, that's just how it came to be. Like it wasn't something I thought about like all along. This just happened like maybe a year or so, maybe 2 years now and everything like that, and actually going forward with this niche because I didn't really have a niche. I had basically it was more so uh general avatar, men and women, 25 to 55, looking to lose a little weight, tone, gain a little muscle, and stuff like that. It wasn't really like a major, niche down the lane. But when I started moving online, that's when I like, okay, that made it more evident then to do it that way because you constantly on the road with online. I'm in their back pocket, so to speak, or whatever. So wherever I go, they go. I mean, wherever they go, I go, and everything like
Okay.
that. So yeah, I can be able to help them in that way, but not just on the fitness side, but also, like I said, the for is their personal and their career growth too as well. Because I want people, like I told you before, to connect, network, build a brand and stuff like that, and in all in all aspects of their journey. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Hold on.
that makes sense. The growth
Yes.
is continuous, right? It's needed.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Definitely. And now about your book. When is you said that was released? Are you writing process still, or what
I'm
process
still
are you
writing.
in? Okay. Okay. Well, do you have like a expectation when it's going to be released or whatever?
Not till next year.
Okay, cool. And definitely. So like that now, before is how long it has been since your first book?
The first book came out, well, Mental Alchemy came out in 2023.
Okay, okay. All right, so 2 years and everything like that or whatever. Okay. All right, so that was up, and I want to talk about then. We can go like, towards your workshops. Like, what do you do at your workshop?
Oh, it's a mix. Sometimes it's just a breath workshop, a
Hmm.
breath workshop, a breath work workshop.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's a mix where we talk about something spiritual. I've been moving away from just doing the spiritual workshops
Okay.
nowadays. My teachings are informed by spirituality, but I pretty much take that out so that it's easy to digest and the people who need it can get the information. Because sometimes people shun away from things that are like too woo woo, I guess. So
Yeah.
I'm just making it, as easy to, you know, understand, accessible as possible. Sometimes it's like I said, it's just birth work. Sometimes it's a mixture of meditation, stress relief strategies, and sometimes it's about just being yourself, right? That building that confidence, that fulfillment. So it depends on the workshop. But for the most part, I do the breath work the majority of the time. And then I sprinkle in the other workshops.
Okay. So do you do this locally or is it like online or?
Right now it's online. So I do
Okay.
everything virtual.
Cool. Cool. I see that you say you do this every Saturday. Seems like it.
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool. Now, when you mentioned the spirituality, had a guest on, Stacy Needenthal. She's an evidential medium, where she help people out with their grief from past loved ones and so on and so forth. So she talk about spirituality a lot. That might be another one you or not to say you got to listen to the episode, but that might be somebody that, you know, I might connect on some kind of level or whatever. But yeah, okay, cool. So you were working on a book and everything, and I'm trying to see if there's anything else we need to talk about. I think that for the questions I have, but do you have anything else you would like to talk about?
No, I think we kind of pretty much covered everything.
Right, cool. So what would you say the biggest takeaway that listeners can get from this conversation out of everything that we discussed today?
Take care of yourself. No one else is going to do it for you. And you cannot pour from an empty cup. You can't be your best creative self. You can't be your best self for your family, for your work, unless you take care of yourself.
Yeah.
So get in tune with who you are. Make that time.
Okay, I like that. And what would be your words of advice, wisdom, lessons, or message to the listeners too as well?
Words of advice. Self-care isn't just bubble baths. You can get self-care through simple practices, right?
Okay.
Go take a walk,
Okay.
do some breath work, cold tray and hit the gym
Yeah.
or do some
There you go.
exercise, right? It's not
Right.
just, wine and spa days. And you can't always wait until you have a long vacation. By then it's too late. That's not enough time. Make consistent effort to get that self-care in.
Yeah, definitely. I like that you said that way. It's more than just a bubble bath. You know, it's like, you know, some people, you know, smoke and some people drink to unwind. I know my dad was like that, but I don't think those are, you know, the best ways, you know, and stuff like that. I get it in certain settings, but you know, but not the best way of the daily, you know, setting and everything as well. But yeah, okay, cool. So I appreciate you for sharing that, and let everybody know once again, where they can find you, partake in your services, and so on and so forth. So again, set your links out one more time.
Sure. So my website is mindbodyrejuvenation.io. If you want to join a free breathwork session, it's only 30 minutes. It'll help you improve your focus, reduce stress, get better sleep. You can find that on Eventbrite. It's a free session and just look for my name and you can sign up. Again, totally free. And you can find me on LinkedIn and Facebook, Kharron Alderman.
We all check Kharron out. All right, Kharron, I appreciate you for coming on the show, sharing your insight, letting us know about breath work and how it helps us mentally and helping us gain clarity and performance. And definitely love to have you back, especially when you get your second book out or whatever other idea or angle you have. You know, you can pitch it to me. You can definitely have another go with it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, cool. My name is Trea the Fit Artist. This has been Sculpt and Create, and my guest, Kharron Alderman. Stay sculpting, stay creating. We out. Thank you for tuning in to this episode. If you enjoyed it, be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. If you're looking for fitness coaching to help you reach your goals, want to join our animated network for fitness guidance, collaborations, networking, and community, or are interested in being a guest on the show, check out the links in the description. Stay creative, stay fit, and we'll holler at you next time.